So when I was in high school, I was a huge theater nerd. I absolutely love it. Still love it, actually. When I was a senior, I really thought I was going to pursue a career in theater, but things change, God intervenes, and here I am at Cincinnati Christian. But I can remember one time when I was a sophomore in high school, I was in a production of Macbeth, and I was taking it so seriously. Macbeth, the show, theater were the only things that mattered in my life at this moment. I had all 17 of my lines memorized from day one. I was ready to go. I was going hard at it. But there was this girl, and she just did not care at all. She was not taking something seriously that I was taking incredibly seriously, and she got on my last nerve. She was texting while the director was talking to her friends, texting her parents to come pick her up early. You name it, she was doing it. She was driving me up the wall. So I go on for the rest of my high school career spending every single day with this girl, and I did not like her during this show all the way up to today. Me and her have been dating for 2.5 years. So what changed? What changed about this girl? Lindsay is her name. What changed? Did she have a big turnaround? Did she have a big come to Jesus moment where she completely changed her own ways? I don't think so. I think what changed was my perception. My perception of her. Lindsay's core stayed the same. But what caused me to now see her as generous, hardworking, self-sacrificing, and kind is my perception. My perception changed. That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about perceptions and a Jesus that constantly challenges us to change them. So we're going to be looking at Luke chapter 10. In Luke 10, about halfway through, this Jewish lawyer comes up to Jesus and he's like, Jesus, how do I gain eternal life? How do I chill in eternity with you? And Jesus is like, well, you're a lawyer, you're a smart man. What does the law say? What does Moses say? And the guy says, well, first you got to love God, then you got to love your neighbor. Jesus says he's right. But then the lawyer comes back at him with another question. And that's what we'll be looking at, Luke 10, and 29 through 37. So Jesus is talking to the man, and the man, looking for a loophole, asks, and how would you define neighbor? Jesus answered by telling him a story. There was once a man traveling from Jerusalem to Jericho. On the way, he was attacked by robbers. They took his clothes, beat him up, and went off, leaving him half dead. Luckily, a priest was on his way down the same road. But when he saw the man, he angled the other way and walked away. Then a Levite, a religious man, sees him, but he also avoided the injured man. A Samaritan traveling down the road came on him. When he saw the man, his heart went out to him. He gave first aid, disinfecting and bandaging the wounds. Then he lifted him onto his donkey, led him to an inn, and made him comfortable. In the morning, he took out 2 silver coins and gave them to the innkeeper, saying, take good care of him. If it costs any more, put it on my bill. I'll pay you on the way back. So before we move on anymore, we need to take note of something. Jesus was a Jewish man who was talking to a Jewish audience. And the Jews, they absolutely hated the Samaritans. You think we have racial tension in our world today? The racial tension between the Jews and the Samaritans was so intense, so fierce. The Jews often referred to the Samaritans as half-breeds, nothing better than dogs. So the second the word Samaritan comes out of Jesus' mouth, a chill probably goes down this man's spine. So Jesus is telling the story, and he talks about a priest that walks by an injured man, and the Jewish lawyer must think, well, a priest, a man of God, he must stop, right? He has to stop and help this man. But he doesn't. And then a Levite, a man who works in the temple, surely he has to stop. Surely he has to help this man. But he doesn't. Then a Samaritan walks by. The lawyer must think, well, if there's anybody who isn't going to stop, it's going to be that Samaritan. Samaritan will probably kick him, finish him off, and take his money and run. But he doesn't. Samaritan shows compassion. The Message Bible says he sends his heart out. Why does Jesus talk about the Samaritan? Why does Jesus paint the Samaritan as the hero in this story? It's because Jesus knew the perception that this Jewish lawyer had of the Samaritans. You see, our Jesus, he constantly challenges us to take a hard look at our perceptions. Our Jesus, while he was on earth, constantly challenged people's perceptions of race, gender, class, and wealth. Our Jesus he knew the hatred in this man's heart. Our Jesus knew that this man hated the Samaritans, hated the word Samaritan. He challenged him. Our Jesus, he knows the hatred in our own hearts. He knows the barriers and the boundaries that we built around ourselves. because of the way we view people. He knows those boundaries. He knows those barriers. He knows our perceptions. He knows the hate in our heart. We haven't evolved so much that, we don't have this tension anymore, that we have perfect, clear perceptions. Our Jesus welcomes anyone into his kingdom who's willing to accept him. And our Jesus, he wants his followers, he wants us to be able to try to limit our false perceptions of people and look at him the way he looks at them, as children of God,